Every legend is based on fact. Every myth is grounded in truth. For 17 years, the town of Haddonfield, Illinois, has been haunted by a night when evil roamed the streets and a madman ruled the night. Everyone knows his name. Now, everyone will know the truth.
I knew what he was, but I never knew why.
Halloween 6, the origin of Michael Myers.
Come with us now, if you dare, down a rickety staircase into a dank, dark basement. What awaits? The Saturday Night Freak Show.
Boom 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 boom. Boom 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 boom. Mr. Sandman,
Yes?
bring me a dream. Boom 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 boom. Make her the cutest that I've ever seen. Boom 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 boom. Give her 2 lips like roses and clover. Boom boom boom. And tell her that her lonesome nights are over.
Sandman.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the illustrious Saturday Night Freak Show podcast. I'm your host, Colin. I'm surrounded by the internet radio superstars consisting of
Sean.
Ryan.
Jay.
And Travis.
And this is a special episode because we've got a whole crew of new additions to the podcast tonight.
Indeed.
Because Sean is unfortunately departing.
This is my retirement party.
Oh.
I know.
Aw.
And as such, Sean got to pick tonight's movie. But wait, first of all, before we get into that, I got a late comment for our last episode, which was Trick or Treat.
Oh,
Which I know, this I guess is just us, because we're Dom Cree writes, "Man, does this movie epitomize why I love low-budget horror from the late 80s, early 90s. I remember recording this on VHS in my teens when it was playing at about 4 o'clock in the morning in the early days of Australian cable TV. When I passed the tape on to a good friend at high school, you can only imagine the regard in which we held this movie, being into heavy metal music and any crazy horror movies found in video rental stores. Long story short, the actor that played Sammy Kerr had such awesome presence in this film, and don't get me started on the crazy guitar lightning bolt killing frenzy. These are images that are forever burned into my mind. Thanks for the show, guys. Love the banter and the endless background information you guys have. If there's anything I'll ever ask of you guys, it's that you review Aerobicide Killer Workout."
What? Aerobicide Killer Workout.
You got us. I don't know if we've actually heard of this movie.
I've never heard of that.
Are you from Australia, Dom? You'll have to let us know. I'm guessing
Or he
so.
was in Australia at some point. Yeah.
Aerobicide.
Wow.
Aerobicide.
Weird.
Yeah. There you go. We'll have to check that one out.
Yeah.
It's probably Australian.
Tonight's movie was picked by Sean. What was it?
Well, tonight we got into the much talked about but rarely seen producer's cut of Halloween 6, The Curse of Michael Myers. We're diving into probably my favorite horror franchise, and this movie's been around in shitty format for a long time.
Notorious at the comic conventions and the horror conventions.
Yeah, it's one of those ones you got to go to the convention. You either get the shitty bootleg.
You get the Seinfeld lost episodes and the next to the Halloween.
That's right up there with like the Fantastic Four movie.
Yeah, the
right?
Fantastic
original
Four.
Right, the Corman
Yeah,
Fantastic
beautiful.
Four.
So, but like this time, finally, like remastered and whatnot,
Remastered,
or at least whatever. you know.
Released on finally released on Blu-ray in a box set.
The box set.
The box set of the Halloween franchise, all Blu-rays. Just released a couple weeks ago. Fantastic
all okay
box set.
movies.
Well, let's talk about this.
These are all right. Most
Some
of these
better
movies
than
are
others.
okay.
Except for Halloween
This is
3.
true.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, there's definite rankings.
There's a
going on,
few.
but-
There's a few coasters in there. A few Blu-ray. It's like if you
Right.
if you maybe like got a few broken Blu-rays or you bought used and you got some splits. Maybe the Halloween box set might offer a few nice fresh cases.
Right,
free.
exactly. Yeah, you just tear that shit out. Use a new
You got the
case.
zombie ones. You got the one with Wu-Tang guy. Not Wu-Tang.
Yeah, Busta Rhymes.
Busta Rhymes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are pretty.
Oh,
Killer
I like the way we're just starting at the bottom of.
I mean, you got it. That way, we're trying to work our way up to the top because it's like this is going to get negative, but I want to start positive.
Right.
with the negative
Clan. Yeah. With Busta Rhymes.
Busta Rhymes.
I have to start with some laughs before we just
slaughter what we've just watched.
All right, well then, Sean, you're gonna have to take us through like the tortured history of this movie. I remember seeing it in 1995 in a very different version from the one that we watched tonight.
Right. What was released was the theatrical cut. Now, from what has been told, I believe the director and the studio.
This is Joe Chappelle.
Joe
he
Chappelle.
also did, I want to say, Phantoms, right? Wasn't he?
I think so.
Like he was on contract with Weinstein.
Notorious for horrible.
From what has been said, I think the director and the studio, that being the Weinsteins or Miramax at the time, had differences of opinion in the shooting of this movie. Now, what we saw tonight was technically what was originally shot for this movie. A lot more backstory on the Thorn cult, introduced in... Was it introduced in Part 5?
Part 5, yeah.
I don't remember seeing anything in Part 4.
Didn't he like walk off a bus in 4?
At the end, he walked.
It was in 5.
I think it was in 5.
It was at the end of Halloween 5.
I think it's
Yeah.
where
Right,
we
but
first see...
in the beginning of Halloween 5, or somewhere like in the opening 20 minutes, he gets off a bus.
Right, that's all we see is him getting off the bus, and he kicks the dog.
He kicks the dog, but I thought that was at the end of the movie.
No, that's at the beginning of 5. At the end is where you see...
He breaks him out.
You see a lot more.
Yeah.
He's like in front of the house just before Michael picks up Tina.
Now, I always heard the reason this was... I mean, this came into... such problems in production is because Donald Pleasance just died, so any hopes they had of doing any reshoots or anything were out the window. Yeah. It's just like, whoops.
Well, I think they shot this version, the producer's cut, had their problems with it, decided to do the reshoots, but by that time Donald Pleasance had already died.
Yeah, that's why at the end he's just like, no matter what version you see, he's sitting at the outside Smith's Grove's like, I'll be right back.
Yes.
Nope.
Exactly.
Well, I mean, I know there's a guy named Daniel Ferranz or something.
He
like
wrote
that,
it, yes.
Who has he had like a public relations campaign after the movie was released, like saying how his version wasn't actualized in the movie. But I want to say that neither version that was released was like actually stuck to his original script.
No, I think even the people who kind of champion the producer's cut, like there's interviews with Malik Akkad and everything, like he prefers the producer's cut, but even he's not 100% happy with it. Like it's what they had. I think they'd still do things differently, had they had the chance to go back and everything. So I don't think they're really 100% happy with either cut of the film, but a lot of people champion the producer's cut over the theatrical release.
Which I have to stand up and say no, fuck no.
The original version is a lot better.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, the original version is actually a horror movie. This one,
and a horrible movie still, but I mean, but a horror movie as well. Like, okay, I have a special. Like I said, before I get really negative, I got a special relationship with this movie. I gotta share with you guys for a second. Okay, this movie came out 96?
95.
95.
Yeah.
95. Okay, I'm 13 years old. 13 years old.
Like right now?
Just dipping my toe into horror movies and really starting to watch everything, right? The first Fangoria issue I ever bought was The Curse of Michael Myers. When this movie was coming out, that had the picture of him on the front, right? Read the fucking article. And at this point, I maybe saw 2 on TV, like we were talking about at dinner, and a few things here and there, but I was so excited about this fucking movie's coming out to theaters, and I've never been alive for a Halloween movie in theaters or in America.
The first one,
I grew up in Germany, so I was never in America. So for the first time, I was like, I'm gonna go rent all 5 of these, and this was the Thursday night before the Friday of it coming out, and I'm like, I'm gonna rent every Halloween movie. And the first night, I saw all the Halloweens one night in a row before I saw this in fucking theaters. And I remember when it came out, I was really excited. It was like, this is awesome. This is the best theater experience I've ever had in my life. Everybody was clapping every single time. I mean, when Myers stepped out of the hallway sideways, not like in this theater, in this version, it actually shows a jail cell, we come out. Oh my goodness. But so in the original version, when he steps out of the dark, dude, the fucking theater went, oh my god, I mean, it was fucking one of the best experiences of my life for like one of the worst fucking
I've had those.
installments of that.
You were
Halloween
probably in a
series.
theater full of people like your age who had all seen Halloween.
well, you
and
go to
other
like
movies,
the 9 o'clock
and this was
show
their
or whatever.
first
Yeah.
theater Michael Myers experience.
It was.
And so everyone was pumped.
Well, because it had been, I want to say this is 6 years since Halloween 5
I believe so. Yes.
at this point.
Yeah, it was.
So they like sold because Halloween 4 and 5, I mean, they were kind of odd. Like they came really late in the slasher movie cycle.
Yes.
Like, Friday the 13th, even I think Texas Chainsaw had a sequel in 88 or something like that. And, like, Michael Myers was kind of sitting that whole thing out. I mean, he was missing, like, the rise of Pinhead and Chucky and all that. And so Malek Akkad, or Mustafa Akkad, I think,
Mustafa
was
is still
alive
yeah,
at
that
point.
time.
At that time, it was,
They went and it was like Trancas International.
Trancas International. Yep.
Was their company that they made 4 and 5. So
Yes.
5, like, inexplicably at the time, I remember seeing 5 in the theater, and like this guy gets off a bus and he's got this, tattoo on
Yep.
his, and they just don't explain who he is, and you're like, what the holy fuck was going? And it's like, you can't set this up and not pay out. It's just like, no, stay tuned for next week's episode, kids, where we'll pay this off.
Meanwhile,
6 years go by, and somewhere in that point in time,
they
when
tried to figure out what it meant too.
Right.
They're like,
yeah,
what
they're
does
like,
it?
so
It really
what?
was-
nobody
What
knew.
did you mean? I don't know. We just thought it'd be cool if we threw this guy in a black coat into it.
he's got a duster.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because that's cool. It is mysterious. Yeah, so then the Weinstein Company or Miramax, like at Dimension Films, buys like all of the. I mean, they bought Hellraiser.
Jason, Army of
Eventually,
Darkness.
Well, no, those are New Line. Yeah. Maybe it was just
What
this
is
and
it?
Halloween.
Was it that?
Jason was
It's
Paramount,
that
wasn't
Halloween.
it?
Yeah, it was Paramount
Well,
until
it was
like,
New Line.
until part 9.
yeah. Then that was New Line
Yeah,
Cinema
New
bought
Line
that.
Cinema, yeah.
Is now Paramount again.
So who?
Paramount.
Yeah,
And I
Dimension
think it's
just
Paramount
had
and New
Scream
Line, I
and
Scream hadn't
Halloween.
even been out at this point because Scream was '96.
Yeah, it was a year after this one.
Yes.
Yeah. So I know that they, like all the stories I hear about Bob and Harvey Weinstein are that they are like,
Control freaks.
they're like cutting movies left and right. Like, we
Yep.
don't care what this is. We're going to cut it all up, and here's the version that should actually go out. I mean, they're savvy businessmen, right? I mean,
Yeah.
I'm sure that this movie made.
Blood and boobs
Money.
work. Let's add more blood and boobs.
Is that
If
like
only
what?
they would have, right?
Well,
It
yeah.
would have worked a little better. In the,
But yeah, I remember going to it and being like, what the?
We'll get to that later.
So tiny they hid behind a candle.
Oh, the ladies are just
switched off. That goes on a female audience.
Yeah. The girl who gets naked in this movie is. I don't know. Who even knows? Who knows what she went on to do? Nobody
I don't
knows.
think I've never seen her again.
Yep, never saw her.
And she's like an advocate
Never
for
saw-
Halloween in the town that.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Actually, never saw anybody besides Paul Rudd, really.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, from this
No one
movie.
else-
Yeah,
there's
no
no
Well,
one
one
else.
else.
I'm going to say Paul Rudd is probably the second most successful person to ever come out of a Halloween franchise next to Jamie Lee Curtis.
Right.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I remember thinking, like, when I saw it originally, like, he was one of the things that was like, oh, this guy's actually acting. Like, the words that he has to say. I mean, I play this game with myself all the time where, like, when I hear actors talk, I try to imagine what that line must have looked like when you
Right.
read it. Because it's easy to hear, like, somebody say it, and you're like, that's the way you say it. But when they read it, it's just a line. And
It
you got to
is.
go,
I'm
like,
what the fuck do I do?
how
with
do I?
that?
So he's like,
The power of the runes.
Dr.
stopped him.
Loomis, thank God you're here. You know what I mean? He does it in, like, he's
He really
trying
is.
to act, And he had, like, this really cool moment in the theatrical cut where
did.
he first because he's playing Tommy Doyle, which is
Of part one fame.
Yeah.
he was one of the two kids that
He was
Jamie
like
Lee
the
Curtis
main
was.
kid in part
babysitting in
one.
the
I
first
mean, he
one.
was,
Right.
right? He
Yeah.
was the.
Why didn't what's her name?
Well,
Give me one of them.
Lindsay Wallace,
Yeah.
who's in part 4, right? Isn't
But
she
they
the
don't
girl?
explain her name though. They don't explain that. it's
That's what
her,
it's
though.
meant
She just
to
says,
be.
your mom
Lindsay.
used to babysit me when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Her name, yeah, it's
There'll be
supposed to be
sound effects
her.
though.
Supposed to
whole
be her,
program.
But it's
they
dropped
just said
real
Lindsay.
quick.
Yeah, they didn't even mention they just
It
said
goes
Lindsay.
nowhere, but it is
Yeah.
supposed to be her.
Yeah. But he has this moment where he sees Michael Myers for the first time in, what are we saying, like 20-odd years.
Yeah.
And he, like, has this kind of... Because the whole way through the movie, they
Well,
try
he's
to
like
make...
talking, he talks to the radio dude about it. He keeps recalling this, right? I mean, this is obviously something that
Traumatized him as a young child.
He's got his little
As you
fucking
would.
terrorist poster board of like
He
events,
does.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
got his
Drawing
screensaver,
lines
remember,
and
Yeah,
Project
when
Michael
those were
Myers.
invented, like,
Yep, 'cause
save your
computers
screen
are
with
new.
an image,
of the Michael Myers
one,
mask.
you know,
Or like, where the fuck?
So somehow, and this is what's really weird to me. Is like this movie is like when Michael Myers like crosses like pop culture, right? I mean, that's what's really weird, right? This movie is doing the Scream thing, right? It's almost looking at itself. It's looking at the Halloween myth in Haddonfield, right?
Yeah.
And it feels like that. It just feels a little like...
Where everybody's aware of Michael Myers. I mean, they connect
It's a
Michael
fucking
Myers
Halloween.
to like... But Friday the 13th
like a
did
Mickey
that,
Mouse
too.
thing.
Or somewhere around that. I mean, Jason
Goes to Hell when they make the Jason
There's a
burgers.
connection between like Jason and like, you know, these other famous...
Bacon the
eyes. Yep.
Well, yeah, but I mean, they connect
Throwing
them
it
to
out.
like famous other serial killers. So it's like now we're taking these guys and putting them in league with like, because they explicitly mention, I think, like Bundy and whoever
Dahmer
else.
or whatever.
Yeah.
Cooking hot. I bet you could really cook with it.
Hey. Yeah, it's like I kind of like their idea of the opening of this movie with a radio show. You know, ideas like that I think are cool. But I don't think you need to explain them as in, like, everybody has their fucking radio tuned into this guy. You can just have it as a voiceover or something and know what's happening in the universe of Haddonfield and Smith's Grove and whatever.
Or in the bus station open at night, shouldn't that be locked?
Right, yeah. Well, there's so many,
there's
like...
a whole lot going on.
There's so many... There's no, like...
And why is it playing when no one's there, too? Like...
Well,
the
who
guy
would
was gonna
listen?
be back
I've never
in
went
20
into
minutes.
somewhere to hear like a really loud, like, yeah, we're coming in live, you know, let's get our next caller. It's always
right.
like
It's just the music.
elevator
Yeah,
music.
it's something with nobody's talking.
So
Well, I want to get the
It's a
idea
stretch.
too that like this was like had to be somewhere around like Howard Stern's like breakout moment or something.
They
This
wanted
is, like,
him like it was offered. That role was
Really?
offered to him. Yes,
serious?
that role was offered to Howard.
Oh, if he would have taken it, this movie would have been better.
Yes,
It
it
would have
was
been
offered
better.
to him. Yes.
I didn't know that. Wow.
They should have at least like did an impression of her. Some tried to do it.
But he
Well, I
was a
guess
smart
Barry
guy, and
Sims was
he's,
supposed to. Barry Sims, that's what's his name, right?
Yeah.
Barry Sims.
Barry Sims show,
he's
yeah.
like the wild and crazy guy. We're going ahead and feed this Halloween.
Yeah. So it was kind of like the meta Halloween movie before Halloween Resurrection got around to doing.
Yeah, they tried to do their filming in the.
Yeah.
So okay, the idea that like. Okay, I'm gonna have to keep referring to the original and to this one. It's gonna suck. This might take.
Oh
a
no,
while.
go ahead.
So it's like, okay, so you remember in the original that, like, I don't know why, a nurse like helps deliver this fucking baby. Then it's just like, take the baby and go. It's like you just fucking what the hell? You're part of this thing. What is this supposed to be? One of those double?
Oh god, it was like a terrible scene because she's like, you know, take the baby and like come with me and you'll get this is it's supposed to be Jamie Lloyd, the character played by Daniel Harris in the previous two movies, is now she's been held in captivity by the Cult of Thorn for 6 years.
Yeah.
And was at some point we find out impregnated by Michael Myers.
In the producer's cut.
Yeah.
In the producer's cut.
Oh, it's not in the.
No,
it's not in there.
No. They took
Yeah,
the
it's not in there.
incest
So
shit
when I
out.
saw that, I'm like, what? I'm like,
But I think
in this
the
cut.
Weinsteins were correct in that. It's like, this is not the fucking 60s.
Yeah. So she gives birth, and this like very occult kind of because every hospital I'm sure has like down after you get past all the
I've heard some
drywall and the
things.
concrete, you get into the old stone
The pipes in the wall.
cave, right? That you have
We're
to
a
have.
druidish cult that's been running Smith's Grove Hospital because we can only assume that this druid cult
It's been going on
let
since
Michael
part one.
Myers out originally.
Yeah. Well, Dr. Wynn, who figures into this movie, is supposed to be the guy in
Is
the
he? From the
first
first one.
movie who
No, he doesn't
chases-
know how to drive a car.
Yeah,
Yes, that's
He was
the guy.
driving very well
Wynn.
last night.
Maybe somebody around here give him lessons.
Yeah, that's
Yes,
supposed to
that
be.
is
Wynn.
Danny Trejo.
But it's also the Halloween movie to have the most like occult overtones, which I guess is kind
By
of
far.
maybe interesting. They're like trying to tie it back to the.
Is it interesting?
It's not maybe not the direction they should have gone, but it's like I can see when you kind of run dry of ideas.
But
and you go,
all the
like,
movies.
Halloween is connected to this druidic, holiday, and so
Yes.
Celtic. Sorry, is a
Right.
Celtic holiday that we're gonna try and.
But they were trying to tell us how Freddy got his dream powers. They were trying to tell us how they were just trying to reveal
There's
everything.
only so much you can do.
These things
6
were always a
movies in.
mystery. They were only successful because of the mystery. Then it's always going to be like behind the mask.
Right. Yeah. You get to sequel 7, and they try and explain stuff like, well, maybe we should find out why he's doing this.
Yeah,
Maybe
but that's
that'll be
not
interesting.
necessarily as interesting as because the original films are always usually about some person. It's primarily about Nancy Thompson or Laurie Strode or something
Yes.
like that, and there's this phantom thing encroaching on their lives, and you lose that as the movies go on. I mean, who's the central protagonist of this movie? I can't tell if it's Dr. Loomis, Tommy Doyle, or
The Strodes.
oh, is there Kara?
Kara.
Yeah.
Carol, I think
Danny.
someone calls her at one point.
Yeah,
Kara.
I mean, it's just so fragmented. It's like I don't have a single person to this is my, character to latch onto and experience
be epic.
how all this stuff is going on. But so the Jamie Lloyd character has this kid. She delivers it in the, the
And
throne
at least
room.
in this
confines
cut,
or whatever.
it shows like
Cult
Thorne's like, give me the baby. Or, no, it doesn't say that, but he just like,
Might as well have.
Yeah, I know, should have.
Yeah.
But yeah, he reaches out for it, and you can tell she's like, I don't. It's like this fucking lady's bullshit. She's been with this cult now forever.
This is the nurse you're talking about.
Yeah. She's been with this cult forever. She's having doubts as she's delivering the.
She's a
like,
new recruit. All right, she's a new
this is
recruit.
going to be the sacrifice for the
She
harvest.
answered the ad in the paper, but she didn't know what she was getting into. Okay.
If she was
I am
part,
just an RNA.
if she was part of it, why did Michael kill her?
Well, because she gave the baby to, she's like,
Right, she betrayed
helped
him.
her
Yeah.
get away.
she had
Yeah,
second
yeah.
thought. She doesn't want a good harvest for Haddonfield.
Yeah,
She's
she
a
can't-
downer. She's a Debbie
She has
Downer.
a moral
She doesn't want
center
good.
and
really is.
can't kill the baby. But I mean, that's like the escape scene is like. I mean,
Oh
that's
my
like your
God.
first scene that there's first sense that there's something wrong with this movie.
Yeah, who
is
taught her how to drive?
well, she
Yeah, I
get-
know, right?
the
She
escape
swings the
plan.
wheel.
But the escape plan is like, here, take your
die.
baby and
Run away.
head up those stairs. Right there. I'm not going to tell you what you're going to do. You don't have a car. I'm not going to just drive you somewhere.
I'm not going
Just-
with you because
you
I'm
go up
just gonna
those
stay
stairs
here.
and I'm going to stay here. And then she wanders down a hall, and this is where these movies always go. You have like the wide shots, and you're staying with this character when like the plot says go with Jamie because that's where you want to go. You want
Right.
to go with Jamie and find out what happens to her.
gonna
But you
kill her.
stay with this person, and you're like, okay, so Michael Myers is going to jump out of somewhere and kill her. And she does the stupid horror movie stuff where she hears a noise and Jamie, like, now why is Jamie coming back? Why do you even think that? This is retarded.
But why is she
where-
there? Like,
Can you draw me a map? Can I know you said around the tube.
set up the stairs, but there's a
lot
lot more than what you said.
All I see, where are we?
I don't know where we are.
It looks like the boiler room. It looks like Freddy's
Yeah,
boiler room.
It does.
Where they're at? Why are there spikes?
Those
in the
are
wall?
those
Why
are
they
druidish
there?
cave
Like I've never seen before. They have that.
so they can just
Why
hang
is
it in
they
the
wall?
wall.
Yeah, and there's like tons of them too. They're all over the place.
Maybe he's right. You
Or
gotta
maybe,
hang up
right.
your case.
It was in the
hospital.
script,
The
like-
hospital's been on top of a druidic temple. And that was part of their
It's like
design for
hospital's got
everything.
those little spokes in there. I mean,
It's post Art Deco design. All
Just so
right?
we can pick her up in the first death scene of like squishing a head into one of these spikes sticking out of the wall for no damn reason,
Right.
and then staring at it like a dog.
Because that's what he does.
Yeah.
That's his
He does
signature.
every-
Again, you have to. It's all just taking all the stuff that was successful in the
Right.
first
There's
movie.
a list on a board.
Yeah.
What does Michael do?
Yeah, he stands
does
and
this.
tilts his head.
No, it's
Okay.
really sad. I'm just starting to realize that's everything. That's why it's like, damn it, I love some sequels, but it's like Ghostbusters 2. It's like the big Statue of Liberty is just the big Marshmallow Man. You know, just
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, you're doing.
what are we gonna do again?
Yeah.
Like, wait for Ghostbusters 3. What's gonna be big next?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
is that even
Tower
gonna
comes alive.
happen? By the way?
actually, on the
I sort of-
anniversary Blu-rays, Dan Aykroyd said there's a little movement, but anyway, I don't
They
know.
always say there's a little moment.
I know,
Fuck
right?
that.
Well,
There's been a
hopefully,
movement
but it's
for
just
so
because they're
long.
gonna like get a new
Well, I
cast,
heard
right?
they-
We're gonna like the
they weren't
new
gonna do it
generation.
since Harold Ramis died, is what I heard.
As long as Paul Rudd plays Venkman, and that's how I'm linking it back around to Halloween 6.
Yes, there you go.
So and then, okay, so the second death, which I've always hated, because I mean, once again, it's a cheap thing where she like gets in this truck and the guy's like, "Hey, what the hell are you doing in my truck?"
Just a redneck
It's
drinking
all
in the
raining.
rain.
He's like,
in the
"What?"
original version, don't they
What?
show his
It's
spine?
different,
His
yes.
spine is like, you know,
In the
that's a lot better
theatrical,
kill.
in the
Yeah.
reshoots, his spine pops out of
pops
the
Yeah,
guy's
out.
head.
I thought that
Oh.
looked.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
thought
Instead of
that
just
was
twisting his
gory.
neck,
Yeah,
they
why
had
is
his
the
spine come out.
producers cut less gory?
Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
that's because
it.
that was the original, and they did reshoots to amp up the gore and the blood.
Oh,
It's like,
yeah.
that's
So
why
there
these
we go.
people
That's
come to
why-
these movies.
Right. The theatrical cut is all the reshoots,
Yeah.
and more blood and everything.
Yeah, because that is the good version.
Yeah, definitely.
We remind you, listeners, you are listening to the Producer's Cut podcast. None of the gore, just a lot of like twisting necks.
None of the gore, all of the bore.
Stabbing,
Yeah,
it's stabbing that you don't see.
Oh
too.
yeah, we forgot to when
yeah.
he finally tracks down Jamie.
Well, actually, she doesn't
Jamie.
even die. You just get stabbed and goes to the hospital.
Yeah, you
That's
just
enough.
hear
I
like
don't- Yeah.
she's like, oh.
Which we learned later she was stabbed, and they don't actually pull that out for like 10 minutes.
It's got to be hours between when she's
Oh my
stabbed.
God,
She's
yeah.
getting on the gurney, and they're wheeling her away very nonchalantly for her being alive. Knife still sticking out.
Now,
of
if
her,
there's
like,
any EMTs out there, they are going to be like, you would never take a fucking instrument, take it out before you, if it's punctured a vital. But it was just so funny that they had to do like a backflash to like, she was stabbed.
She was
and
stabbed.
it shows her standing there, and then the doctor
Pulls
raises
it out.
up a knife. And blood.
It's like he pulled it out and went, "Oh, that's what that is."
Dude, that was it was like a Monty Python like sketch. I swear, it was just like, what the fuck?
pulls
Why
it
we
off
gotta
slow
go to
motion,
that?
too.
Yeah, this guy was. I swear to God, this director's like burning film. That's why they're like, we're taking over.
One of mine. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So what? Then they're having this like radio show, and then Tommy Doyle calls in, which I guess would have been the first like I don't know, maybe interesting part of the movie. I
It
suppose,
is-
where he's just been like, I saw him once. The guy's like, you're crazy.
Right. It's more interesting that in the producer's cut, there's more back and forth between Tommy and Loomis as far as when they hear Jamie on the radio, because that wasn't in the theatrical cut. I think they stick with Loomis for that one.
Yeah.
Whereas
not
in this
Wynn.
one, they
They have
bounce
Wynn
back
in
and
it,
forth.
but in the original was Wynn just on the side that you just didn't show him. That could happen too.
There's more Wynn and Loomis in the beginning
you
parts
know.
of this as well.
Which I do like, because I don't like how there is two scenes where it's like, dude is sitting there with his headphones on listening, but then later he has to go back and like listen again before he
Right.
gets the clue that like it clearly distinctly says that there's a bus waiting.
Right.
Yeah.
She's at the bus depot. Quickly.
Well, they recast, Donald Pleasance in this movie, who's been in all of them up until this point. This is his final movie.
Yes.
And when you see him in this at the beginning, it's like, oh
We
my
apologize,
God, like
Donald
he looks very, like
He's horrible.
It's very
yeah,
old.
very old.
Yeah.
And so then I'm not contrasting, but I'm trying to get together in my mind like the image of this old man. And Dr. Wynn coming in and saying, "Sam, we want you back
Right.
at Haddonfield."
Why would they
Yeah.
want him back?
Like
He's
the guy's
80.
well
Yeah,
past,
yeah.
like 20 years past
Because he's the
retirement
best.
age.
Yeah, he's the best. he
One
did
guy-
not cure Michael Myers at all.
He is the
Yeah,
best.
and he's the legendary. What they say?
It's
He's
because
like
he'll
the
shoot the
legendary.
escape victim. That's
Yeah,
what
but like
it
he's
is.
been,
You're the
Smith's
best
Grove always
wrangler.
tries to distance themselves from him in every
Right.
single other
Every
Halloween
single
movie
thing.
except for this one where he's the legendary, revered.
Nobody believes him. Nobody
doctor.
does what he says.
Yeah. But
And they're
they
like-
say he's revered in this one. Wynn's
Right.
like, yeah, it's- oh yeah, we know.
But
Revered
that
Dr.
is
Lewis.
because in the producer's cut, then maybe I don't know. Like I said, I'd have to watch the theatrical cut again, but maybe you can remind me.
Oh, I will.
I mean, the idea is I guess the big idea is that like Dr. Wynn, created Myers, the Myers boy, to kill his family under the guise of under the runes or whatever the fuck, under
Yes.
the sway of the runes.
Yes.
That this kid will kill his family. That way, we'll all have plentiful plentiful
Harvest. Yes,
harvest.
yes, that is. That
And
was the
now that
point.
I'm going to create a new boy, you will take on the new boy, right?
Like
you're gonna lead
gonna be the
Smith's Grove, but
overseer.
now I'm slowly gonna lead you into like we're druid.
yes, even though you're at least 20
Are you
years older than me.
Druish?
Yeah, it's like no, you should handle this because you're fit enough to do it. You're
Right,
80.
you've done this all these years. I pick you. You may die in a year, but
Just
pick a good
very much
successor.
Didn't he
hard.
die
Yes.
before they were done shooting?
I think
I'm
they
sure.
shot it. He died before
did.
it was released.
Before it was released in
Yeah.
theater?
Yes.
Okay.
But
And
they
before
probably
the
would've
reshoots,
definitely done
apparently.
reshoots.
Yeah, definitely.
Sure.
They just shot around him and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they want him to come back.
Well, it has there's so many like different plot lines. I mean, this movie is really heavy on plot, not so much on story, but it's heavy on plot. There's a lot of characters. You have to introduce like the Strode family, which is somehow related to to Laurie Strode. They're living in the Myers
it's a bunch
house.
of new Strodes, so it's all
They're
new
just-
And
characters.
then there's a bunch of
Yeah.
kids.
They really are.
I mean, they are
Yeah.
personality-free, like just horror movie
Well, there's
victims.
a daddy daughter. Like there's a. It's weird. It's like in a weird way. This is almost like. It's like before Zombie had his version of Halloween. There's this where it is about Danny seeing the violence in a household, and that's the type of thing where Thorne can be like, kill for him, kill for him, Daddy. You know, because whatever, I don't know. It's the rage, you know, all that jazz. And I guess the rage comes from seeing violent fathers, right? I mean, that's what the rage is. Dickhead dads, whatever.
I don't know.
All right.
That dad was a
Conservative.
dickhead.
That dad, yes.
It's conservative, yeah. Fucking hippy-dippy kids want their Halloween party. The conservative dad creates Michael Myerses. I got this fucking number. And the druid dog. It's conservatives creating murders. But, but that's the idea, right? The idea is Danny sees the violence in the home, and that's who you get to get under the sway. I was almost thinking it's like, so it's not the bloodline, it's the house? That's just like, hey, dude, you want the best place to fucking make a kid into a weird, sentinel of fucking evil?
I think it just got adopted into it because Lori ended up getting adopted by that family.
So was she actually a Myers? Is that
Lori was supposed to be.
Lori is a
so
Myers.
she has to die so they can have fruit and shit.
Yep.
Good corn.
Gotta get that good maize.
All right, you're losing me. This makes no goddamn sense.
That was the whole
I know that
from
they're
Halloween
trying
2,
to.
right? Where he goes in the explanation. Wait, which?
In Halloween
Halloween 2 is the one that
Myers.
retrofits Halloween and says that the reason why he was doing this murder spree in the first movie, which in the first movie, you just take it by itself and imagine there were no sequels. So 1978, when you see that, he's a nut job who returns to the scene of his crime to relive his crime. He takes his sister's headstone and brings it into the house, and he's re-killing his sister. He's stuck in a time loop.
And now he's back for the others, and that
Well, no, he doesn't know that.
In part one, it is.
They did not know that.
In part one, none of that
When
exists.
they're like,
which I
this
don't
made
think,
a lot of money. We need a sequel.
Which I don't think anybody. I can't. I don't think I was able to, I've never seen Halloween in that way.
I was trying to imagine it.
I tried to.
You almost can't
and
now,
but that's the scary version of it, obviously, where he's just some nut who came home on Halloween night and decided to kill people.
Yeah.
But I don't think I've ever seen Halloween without knowing that that's his sister.
Because when you watch Halloween 1, even without that, it is more about the doctor chasing his. I mean, to me, it's about the doctor, I saw evil that night, looking through the walls to this night.
Yeah.
That's the fucking Jesus Christ, this guy's crazy.
Yes.
And then in part 2, they need to bring in the sister, but they had, Myers went as far as breaking into a school, drawing a or at least picking up a picture of someone drew of a family, and stabbing the daughter.
You're right.
And then writing Sam Hain in blood, and then that's when Dr. Lewis is like, Sam Hain, the Lord of the Dead,
they burn cats in baskets.
To predict the future and the harvest.
So that was the first instance of trying to bring that supernatural, tying it in with the holiday. I blanked that part out, but you're right.
Yeah, it's kind of forgettable.
So this is kind of like the extension of that. Like John Carpenter and Deborah Hill opened the door to that, writing Halloween 2, and now these guys who made these sequels and are profiting off of this, just like, here's an avenue. Yeah, let's go with the druids.
Which gets dropped from, it's brought up in 2, 3 doesn't matter. Dropped in 4.
No,
4
goes back.
4 was going to continue with a new Myers blood. Jamie was supposed to be the new Myers.
Yes.
The way 4 ended, it should have.
Yeah,
5 should have been her being the killer.
And that's that's how the writers wrote 4, to continue off with Jamie.
In 5, almost went there because she was silent. She lost her voice. She was like halfway there, right? She lost her voice.
Yes.
She was seeing fucking. Well, she got The Shining or whatever the fuck.
Mustafa Khan is the reason this series is still alive, but he's also the reason we got some of the shittiest versions of what we saw. Like, he is responsible for some bad stuff.
Yeah.
Once you wrap yourself in with, you limit yourself to who your victims can be, as in family members and just whoever crosses his path. Yeah. He seems to go out of his way to people are he's just wandering around I'm gonna kill that guy.
Well, he goes out of his way to do illogical shit. I mean, that's the problem with these things. At some point in this movie, he's in the house and he kills the mom, which is Kim Darby, which we pointed out was from True Grit.
I never put together.
Yeah.
You didn't know,
I know Kim Darby.
I didn't know it.
I'm like, oh shit, yeah.
And we established also the original TV version of Don't Be Afraid of the Dark.
Yes.
Anybody? And then, so he kills her in the house. Then we're supposed to believe, so now he's going to kill everybody else in the house because it's his house, right?
Right.
And we've also established through one line of dialogue, which makes this all okay, which I also think is retarded, that Paul Rudd says, well, he considers everyone who's in his house family, and he has to kill his family. So that one line justifies, like, whatever. So he kills the mother in the house, and then he kills the father when he comes home, and he kills the two kids, right? But in between the mother and the father, Michael Myers wanders, like, down through town to this Halloween celebration that's being held where there's this shock rock DJ.
Just to kill the radio host.
Just to kill the radio host.
And the radio host is a dumb fuck.
Which seems accidental if you look at what the Barry Sims is doing. Like, he happens to wander into Michael's van.
The wrong
Yeah,
van.
how did he not see that?
So now Michael's a white van rapist right now.
How did he not see that?
He's on the phone. He's not paying attention.
And once again, Myers is driving around in a vehicle owned by Smith's Grove Sanitarium, and it's right on the fucking side of the goddamn thing.
Right, kind of like in the first one.
We can't find this. Well, they actually do, like, write the cops out of this movie, like, pretty goddamn fast.
They do.
Yeah.
The cops show up, like,
anybody...
we know that, Jamie, there's this whole, like, phone call shit going on the night before, and the cops are like, and the cops, like, show up, and she's dead. So it's like, Jamie Lloyd's dead. She said Michael Myers was coming for her. No, you guys are crazy. Get back to Smith's Grove, you're crazy, blah, blah, blah.
In the theatrical, that's not even in
That's
there.
not
There
even
are
in there at
no
all.
police in the theatrical version of this movie.
No, there's not.
But nobody
Well,
is...
except for when
I don't think
Jamie
at any
Lloyd
point,
was
aside from when Jamie is
When
killed,
yeah,
there's
there's cops there.
no... I guess there would be no indication to bring the cops in. Like,
really, it's because Loomis doesn't have the same affiliations. In the first, or whenever he's in the other ones, he is still associated with a government, like, mental illness,
Right, he brings
like,
the police in. The
only
first
reason
people he goes to.
Yeah, the only reason he's driving around with them is because they're asking him things about it, whatever. But now they're just like, get out of here, you Looney Tunes!
Right.
You know, he's dead!
Yeah, he goes to Brackett, he goes to Meeker in 4 and 5. Like, he seeks them out to help him stop Michael in the previous one.
You let him out. Damn you.
You let him out!
I didn't let him out. I didn't.
One of them was Annie.
Yeah, Annie. One of them was Annie.
The second take in the TV cut is the most ridiculous version of that.
Oh, it's awesome.
Halloween 2?
Halloween 2, the TV cut.
What's the point of even showing it on TV if they're going to cut out so much stuff?
I mean,
Well,
all movies
they put
are
in new
like...
stuff.
They add extra stuff
which
to make up for the gore.
There was the stuff that was shot
What's
that
his
was
name,
cut
Jimmy?
out
That's
of
the
the
best part
original.
is the gore.
The explosion with Jimmy.
And then
After the
reshoots.
explosion, then he falls. In the
Stupidest
other
thing in the
version,
world.
It's not like that at all.
Stupidest thing in the world. And you said earlier that you like the quote-unquote happy ending of Halloween 2, which I don't understand.
No, I kind of like that ending.
I can't do it. He just pops up and they're all happy.
Yeah, because clearly
she
they
ugly
shot it
cries
that way.
and we laughed.
Yeah, but the weird thing
We
is
laughed.
they shot it that way, and the theatrical version is the cut back, like we're cutting away so you don't see it.
Because she just drives away. She's just kind of
She
staring
just
off.
stares
at
away
nothing.
like that. I think that's better than him popping up.
Yeah,
It's
maybe.
weird. Plus, I
It's
didn't like
because
that.
I saw the TV cut first. I think it's I'm
probably,
like, how come he doesn't sit up at the end? And I've always missed the line where Loomis is, in brackets, like, is it him? And he's like, I don't know. He doesn't say I don't know
he cuts it out. Is
and I'm
it
like,
him
why
or
isn't that?
Is it him or not? Yeah.
They also cut out in the TV cut the I've been trick-or-treated to death tonight. You don't know what death is.
Yeah,
that gets cut out too. That is
cut
one of the
out,
best lines in that
Yeah,
movie.
that's
It
kind
is,
of
it
fucked
is.
up. And plus the TV cut adds back in the whole power outage in the hospital, which is
the
like,
power outage.
I think when I saw that, I'm like, oh shit, that's important.
Right,
Because
it does.
The whole movie takes
Otherwise,
place in a
it's
dark
Well,
hospital.
that's why the security guard goes to check out, like, the thing you do.
Right.
He goes to check out the phones.
The phone, yeah, why?
Yeah.
But
Well, it
after
also
that,
turns
like, there's
out-
scenes in the TV cut where, like, the
turns
power
into a
goes
chase
out
scene.
in the whole hospital.
Yeah.
Right.
And they're like, well, we got
Looks
to
like,
check on
it
it.
looks like
Right,
just
right.
the night lights in the
And then
theatrical.
the
Yeah,
other-
the emergency.
The emergency lights come on. Yeah.
So,
And then
Halloween
it turns
6.
Oh, we gotta cover everything.
I know,
We'll
right?
never
It's
come
like
back
it's
to
so
this.
hard to talk about Halloween 6.
We'll never
It's
come
like,
back
God damn it.
Well, you've got a handful of murders that aren't very interesting. And I
Yeah, we
always
left
said
off
to me,
with Barry Sims. We're just because he goes out to murder Barry and then back to the house
Back
where
to
he
the house.
just was.
which is ridiculous.
And to, like, stuff that, like, I'm
And it's
gonna,
quick as hell,
like,
too.
this time my murder art's gonna be putting her in the wash machine.
And turning off all the other power to the house except for the line that powers.
And he's gonna hear the wash machine.
And come
And
down
be
here.
like,
Does
Yeah,
anybody?
that's
someone down there?
How
Who's
do
down
they
there?
do that when they cut the power off, but that's still going?
That's what I would ask. So does
How do they
anybody
do
else?
that? How do they do that?
Does
That's
anybody
all.
else add scenes in their mind where you just see Michael sitting down there going?
You notice too. In
I think that's when he's
Like,
eating
the version
dog.
is
Right,
Right,
eating
the
dog,
door.
flipping switches, just going. I wonder if that
in
one
the
works.
theatrical version, isn't he already in there already?
Oh, I don't know. I
He's in
can't
the-
remember.
In the, yeah,
In the
he's
theatrical
there
version,
watching.
there's a
He's
small
already in there
pan on the
watching.
side, and he's already there
He's
watching.
but in this one, he comes through the door.
And his head
doesn't even-
explodes.
Yeah, I like the head explodes
exploding
too.
is a lot better.
A hell of
And
a lot
in this
better.
version, you actually see the dummy head. Pretty horrible looking.
Yes.
He's
yeah,
like
it is.
strangling a fake dummy. It's like, well,
Yeah.
if you're not going to use the head exploding, the scene of the fake dummy looks retarded.
I didn't see the fake dummy. I only saw the fake dummy in the other. In the
Go
theatrical
look in the producers.
Really?
He's like, "Arr," and you
Yeah,
can
but
see
you go
one
like
where
that,
it's
but instead
it's just this fucking mannequin or
Right.
whatever.
Oh god.
Yeah, that's what I was like. Is there going to be a special effect? No. Well, why'd they show the dummy? Like, why would you show a dummy with no
You think
effect?
maybe that came from the reshoot and was included in the producer's cut after the fact?
I'm
Like,
sure
I don't
so.
think that the producer's
You know what?
cut was
So
what was originally assembled.
producer's cut
It's
should've-
taking the best of to try and reassemble something close to what we wanted when we set
No,
out to make this
I agree.
movie.
I don't think the producer's cut was assembled before.
Like, you don't think
Well-
if we get the VHS that's been out since, like, 97 or whatever the fuck, that it would look like this? You think there would be...
I don't
For
think
this
there-
Blu-ray, you think they did different scenes from the
No.
different
No,
movies?
I
Or
don't
is it
think
gonna
there
be this?
was an assembly before the theatrical cut. I think there was people looking at what they had and decided they needed to shoot something different.
Well,
I think
they
that the
should've-
producer's cut was made after the theatrical cut was made.
Yeah?
Yeah,
Well,
I think
they
so.
should
Re-put
have
together.
had the producer's cut as the theatrical version, and the theatrical version as the unrated version. That's what they should have
That
done.
would have made money.
Because that would have made.
Everybody would have been like, that's awesome!
Yeah, right.
Have you
Yeah,
seen
they
it?
did the other
That's
way around.
awesome!
Yeah.
I think you're giving too much credence to this theatrical cut.
It's got
I mean,
gore.
I know we
It has
saw it. We
gore.
watched
Yeah,
this.
the
So
theatrical cut is
yeah.
not supposed to have that much gore, right?
It has like the
You know,
one thing you're going there to see in gore. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, you can still get all your fucking druid doctor story. It's still got the 3 men and a baby fucking bullshit. This is what I hate about this movie, the baby. What a hindrance on a
it's
story.
Lewis, Michael, Rudd, and the baby.
Oh my
It is.
god, it's
Baby.
horrible, dude.
It really
like,
is.
they got nothing to do with this baby. They're like, they're just sitting on a bed.
Yeah.
And like
Running away.
Well, there's not even a baby in half the movie. It's just a
it's just-
bundle of clothing or
I know.
whatever.
Yeah.
It's
They made sure to get a
Or
big
isn't it
blanket
like the
so you
paper
couldn't see
towels
anything.
Yeah, isn't
Yeah,
it like
the-
the paper
yeah.
towels on one
Yeah.
scene?
The paper towel, yeah, exactly.
Underneath the sink, there's the paper towels you can see in there. I don't know if anybody saw that or not.
Oh, beforehand?
Oh, that
No,
she took off the.
when he's walking back up the stairs.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, there's so much.
Yeah.
There's just no, like, there's no stakes. You're not even concerned. It's like somebody's going after the baby.
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean the plot is so convoluted that it's just like, I mean, you can follow it, but I mean it's like it's really trying to connect a lot of, you can feel people bending the storylines to try, it's like
To
the thing
that.
wants to go this way. It really does. No, we're gonna bend it. Come on, get over here. Yeah.
It's like, because what they ultimately say that this baby is going to be Michael's last sacrifice.
You made a good point while we were watching that.
Yeah, and it's like, well,
Why not
but
just
then
kill
why
Jamie?
wouldn't he kill Jamie
'Cause
back
they
when
had her-
whatever?
instead
Why
of-
would they make him
it's-
rape her, have his own baby, then kill his incestual son? What the fuck is going on in this movie? Is this the Japanese cut? Is this what's going on here?
It's
And then the
weird.
seventh one, Jamie has what's his name, John. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Well,
that
they just,
negates
another
all
one.
they
There's
just
another
forget
one.
all of these.
That
they
negates,
forget everything
that
else.
negates
Yeah.
this stuff even.
Yeah, that's 127.
That's a different dimension.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's different trilogies in this. 127, 456.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And 8, wherever.
8 just stands alone
Yeah,
as a
it stands
fan
by
film
itself,
that
I
somehow
guess.
got distribution by the Weinsteins.
Yeah.
I don't know how.
Oh god, that one is so fucking
bad movie.
Well, I'm trying to figure out like
Just rewatched
what's the
bad
worst like your Halloween movies like ranked. What do you got?
I got 1, 2, 7, 4, 5. Probably Zombie 1.
3's dead last. That's right.
Zombie 1, Halloween 6, 3, Zombie 2.
Well,
No H2O or anything?
I said 7. I said 1, 2, 7, 4, 5.
In 8, the one part in 8 where the guy,
Resurrection
where
is
the one
horrible.
guy, the one crazy guy is explaining what happened throughout the
I
year.
do like that.
That part was good. I did like that
I
part.
don't even
Remember?
recall you guys are talking.
Yeah.
Like, I saw that movie in
that
theater
part
and
was-
every
that part
image
was good. That part was
disappeared.
good, though.
As I'm like,
The part where
what
he
the
kills,
There's a beginning
after he
where
kills
they're
Lori
in
and
the
he gives
insane
knife to
asylum
the
with
one guy
Lori.
wearing the clown mask.
There's the one guy who, ironically enough, makes
So they think that
masks.
he's the one that killed him.
Exactly. There you go.
Right, who like I said, makes masks in his cell in the insane asylum, which, if you watch zombie shit later, it's just like, oh, well. But he kind of knows the history of every serial killer, and he kind of, repeats it back to everything that happened. So after he kills Lori, Michael kills Laurie and walks away, like he gives that guy the knife to kind of, this guy killed everything and this would happen. And he runs down the history of Michael Myers, and it's done in actually an effective way. Yeah. It's actually pretty creepy. Yeah, it's one of the only parts of that movie that is good.
I saw that movie once. I didn't even see it in theaters. I was like, I knew better to. I'm like, this is going to suck.
Because I was young.
Yeah, that was, 12 years ago?
And just wanted Michael Myers on the big screen. I'm pretty sure I saw it twice in theater.
I think we saw it 2 or 3 times.
We might have seen it 3 times. Not going to lie.
Wow.
I blame him. I blame him. I went with him.
When I saw H2O, I fucking loved it.
I'm pretty sure it was. Talked me into going. I'm pretty sure it was either Let's Go See the Ring or Let's Go See Halloween again.
And we saw both, I think.
I'm pretty sure we saw both.
That's what I was saying. I was telling Travis earlier. It's like my first horror movie that I saw in the theaters was Halloween 4. That was the first theatrical horror movie that I got to see. Probably underage. I think maybe 16 or whatever. Getting into an R-rated movie, but. I remember the experience was so awesome that you kind of take that with you and it stuck to the movie forever.
It is.
But then you go back, because I knew that we were doing this tonight, and I didn't get the box set, but I have the Blu-rays of the ones I like. And I think I have Halloween 4 on DVD, and so I went Halloween 1, Halloween 2, Halloween 4. I watched it, and I'm sitting there now watching it, going that's that's
not a fan.
Dude, the best scene in 4 is
what don't you like
leave
about
those
4?
people alone, Michael.
It's God damn you.
It's because watching them now in sequence, it's like you see this movie Halloween, which is a fucking classic. Yes. One of the great American classic films. The second one is
film, not a horror movie.
As a film. The second one is a horror movie that's trying to, at least it apes kind of the style of the first one, so you have that kind of continuity, and it provides this crucial plot twist, which is cool in retrospect. And
it's a little cruder than the first one. Which
there's gratuitous close-ups
of injections into eyeballs and
into actual IVs veins and stuff like that. And you're like, what the fuck are you doing? Well, because it was by then the Friday the 13th movies and all those fucking slasher movies, of which at one point I looked
everything
them up,
that had copied Halloween,
had come out, and they
gone a little bit farther,
quotient. So it's we're gonna beat them at their own game and be even more disgusting than they are. Was the operating
even if John Carpenter has to go back and reshoot shit.
Yeah, he went and the stuff that he didn't want to put in the first movie, he
went
put
back
in the second movie. So then, by the time you get to 4, it's man, they really that story's over. It's you have to bend fucking space and time to try and get a reason to make another Halloween movie. Yeah, and so they come up with this new kind of thing.
New blood relation.
But it's so
she had a daughter.
But it's so
she died in a car accident. That's why she's not in the movie.
Yeah, but it copies so much
Italian guy
the setup of the original movie. 4 goes back to the first one and raids its closet. It's what's left over here that we can put on and throw on this thing and put it out there. It really feels like a money grabbing opportunity more than it does we did this because we had a good fucking idea.
That is the reason. In continuing the franchise, obviously they made 3, nothing happened. There was an outcry where's Myers? And so they bring him back for 4. But I like that latter half. I like 4 and 5. I like them if you look at them as just those, 4 and 5. I think they're good back-to-back movies.
Oh, 5 is fucking atrocious. I remember seeing that in the theater too. I was I could even feel the quality difference from 4 to 5. It was steep.
I agree, but I still like them. I still think they're good. Michael Myers is kind of loose in the city. It goes back to it's just I think they're creepier than anything we got later on.
Well, I remember that too. The significant thing that I took away from seeing Halloween 4 in the theater was when Freddy was basically played for laughs at that point, and Jason was, all of his stuff was neutered. Frankly, he would go and do all these elaborate kills, and the MPAA would cut them all out. Yes. So it's you went there for gore, but because it was a studio film, they could only release stuff that's R-rated. They cut all that shit out. So the Halloween series still had some kind of level of suspense to it. Yes. In the theater, it did play ooh, there's actually some kind of suspense here.
Right.
now in hindsight, when you stack it up with maybe watching them in that order, you're like, it really does kind of feel like a third generation clone of like the thing that actually worked in the first place.
It is, yes.
It's just because he's got nothing to do. Just nothing to do.
Yeah.
What was
around.
our first one that we saw? Was it an H2O?
I mean, in theaters, H2O, because I was still too young to see 6, but we saw H2O was the first one.
After we saw H2O, we went to
The hospital.
the hospital, which is weird because, Halloween 2 was in the hospital.
Right.
So it was...
Yeah,
I'd sit through the whole movie with a broken finger.
With a broken
Let's
finger,
go see the movie first, and then we'll go to the hospital.
we did, and I think we consciously made that decision.
No, we got to go see this movie first, and then we'll go to the hospital.
Because we really wanted to see H2O. We were really excited about that movie.
Yes, we were.
Which still stands up as one of the better sequels, as far as I'm concerned.
Does it?
It's fucking horrible.
No!
2 people die in the movie. 2!
No!
6
You know what?
people.
Because it's...
6 people die in the movie, actually.
It is more...
3 at the beginning. 6 people. Yeah. Who? Listen,
Go.
You got
Joseph
3 at the beginning.
Gordon-Levitt,
There you
his
go.
friend.
Oh, yeah.
The nurse, which is in
I'm sorry.
one and 2.
So there's actually 2 death scenes, right? There's maybe 6 people, but there's 2 death scenes. There's the warehouse, and then the 2 people in a fucking kitchen. And then Samuel Jackson comes back, or Samuel Jackson, LL Cool J comes back.
He lives, by the way, which is rare.
I think
horrible.
I like what I really like that movie. I think what I like about it the most is like the fact that they brought Jamie Lee Curtis back.
Well, that's what everybody liked about it.
But the fact that like she's kind of, and when the turn near the end of the movie where she faces Michael Myers,
that's what I hate about it.
Oh, I love it.
That's what you've been waiting for. It's like Sigourney Weaver facing the aliens.
That's what she's trying to do. She's trying to have the, why don't I have a Linda Hamilton Sigourney Weaver thing? Well, it's like, because that's not fucking... That's not who Linda Laurie Strode is. That's not who Laurie Strode is.
But after 20 years, it makes...
That's the best part right there.
Gives me goosebumps still. After 20 years, she's singing in the window. Oh,
yeah, in the window. That's the best part.
That's good.
That is good.
That's good.
It's good.
Halloween H2O!
You don't like that part of it? Oh, come on. That is a great part.
No, because she's still going back and facing it. It's still good.
Wow, man.
And she kills him.
Dude, look, Jamie Lee Curtis paid for that movie, right? That movie makes me sick, dude. That's
so good. Still good.
Oh, that's an awesome part of the movie, too.
Oh, my goodness.
No,
I don't think I've seen it since it was in theaters.
Still good.
Well, I mean, I remember when it was in theaters, I saw it, and I thought it was like okay for like bringing it back post Scream.
Yes, it is a post Scream movie, but I like the aspect of her coming back and finally facing it off and killing him at the end.
Well, that's the appeal of doing it, I guess.
It really is.
But really not.
Fuck you.
No. Okay, we got it.
They made a mistake and ended one movie too late. That's all they did. Because they saw the error of their ways after Resurrection, decided to reboot the whole thing.
That's because Mustafa Akkad died. If he wouldn't have died, they would have gone with Halloween 9.
I think, you got box office returns, I think, for Halloween Resurrection were, like, very poor. I think it was, like, one of the worst of the series as far as, people coming... Sorry, what did I say? 4? Yeah, Halloween 8. And then after that, Texas Chainsaw, the remake in 2003, started this whole, like, hey, we can go back and raid, all these movies and redo them.
Yeah.
And so what it was 05, I want to say that
at the time,
they did
I never
Halloween.
thought they'd do it. I never thought they'd remake
that's the
Halloween.
thing, my problem with these fucking remakes is, and not that I have anything necessarily against the Halloween remake, I watched the other night, and there's a lot of stuff that I like,
a lot of stuff
I don't like, but, still, it's an artistic endeavor that isn't entirely, done for, like, a mercenary reason. Of just, we want money. I mean, I know that's the ultimate goal, but, at least they hired somebody with a vision to do it.
Yeah.
But my problem with all the fucking remakes is no one's going and remaking Citizen Kane. No one's going and remaking Chinatown or The Godfather or anything like that. I consider Dawn of the Dead, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Halloween, like The Shining. It's like, these are goddamn classics of motion picture history, and you should just fucking, like the Ten Commandments. They're not fucking remaking that.
No.
Or Sound of Music.
What are you talking about? It's called Exodus.
All right.
They are remaking Ten Commandments.
Right now.
Ridley Scott is directing it.
Right now.
Comes out this summer.
All right, so that was a bad example. Bad example. There's no Rebel Without a Cause, the remake. Or,
but they're right.
Because those aren't sellable titles. Citizen Kane didn't sell a million T-shirts
I
that
know,
say Citizen
I get it.
Kane.
I get
There's
it.
no Citizen Kane.
They made
action.
a horror movie that transcends horror movies.
Well, he's
into
got
actual
a character. He's got a
cinema.
Mickey Mouse. You know what I mean? Myers is a Mickey Mouse. Jason's a Mickey Mouse. They got a sellable face.
Yeah.
None of those other movies. Godfather, there's no fucking. There's no.
And it's more
Vito
sellable in a horror
Corleone,
franchise.
like, you know, action figure or whatever.
I know. I understand all that, but it's still it's some kind of like personal violation for them to be remaking these movies, regardless of how successful or good the remakes are.
Right.
And Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. What did
let's talk about it.
What's the white horse got to do with anything? That's what I don't.
Rob Zombie.
The white horse is that part
death.
of it. I don't get it.
It was change or whatever.
Was
right?
it?
Well, that's I don't know. He put the
Isn't the
definition
pale horse?
or the
Isn't
metaphor at the beginning.
I saw a rider?
He did. He literally put it in.
He's like,
in
no
a
one's gonna.
quote
That's
at
right.
the beginning.
No one's gonna get this, so I'm just
we
gonna
have to put a quote at the beginning of the movie.
I'm still thinking like there's a toss up between like my worst of the entire. I mean like, and that's unfortunately the thing. I think when I look back on this series, there are more bad movies than there are good.
Yeah.
But I mean like Halloween 8. Wait, is that the Resurrection? Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, which is like because he was a director that I was looking at. I'm like, House of a Thousand Corpses is rough, but at least it's like
rough,
it's a first timer kind of movie.
And it's his vision.
Devil's Rejects was like holy shit.
Devil's Rejects is a really good movie. I still really like that movie.
Yeah. And even Halloween was like, okay, this is the guy who made Devil's Rejects making a movie.
Yeah.
So Halloween 2 was like, this guy does not know how to make a movie. I mean, it was like, holy shit, like, has he just been coasting this whole time and like really had just been lucking into stuff and really doesn't know how to make a movie at the bare, like fundamental level? Because Halloween 2 is a wreck. It's a wreck.
It is.
There's horrible from
there's scenes that don't connect to the scene that directly follows them. Character motivation that's like inconsistent and just like
symbolism in here that
you've got Loomis has no business being in that movie. You can cut him out completely. It's like it's just a fucking horrible wreck of a movie.
In these remakes in Halloween and Friday the 13th, they got him. He has the one person as a hostage, and the other ones they didn't have it like that. Why? I mean, why?
What do you mean?
You're talking about Friday the 13th?
And Halloween, Rob Zombie's Halloween. He's got the one. He's got what? Yeah, you remember in Friday the 13th?
I remember that one.
Who's
the hostage in Halloween?
What's her name?
Oh,
Laurie's friend.
Yeah, the Danielle Harris. He plays with her. He uses her to trap Laurie.
Yeah.
This is true. Yeah,
I don't get why these days they're doing that. I mean, back then you would never even see that.
Yeah, I know. It's a change.
I don't know.
It's all about trying to I think it's all about just trying to have a relatability. Like they're trying to treat these things more like characters. There's no longer a character that the horror monster is chasing. The monster is the character.
Yes.
So they're trying to focus on those.
They focus on the monster rather than the other character.
This weekend, Dracula, or is it next weekend? Dracula Untold is opening, and it's like, what? This is like, who the fuck wants to see this movie? Who wants to see Dracula before he was Dracula? Right?
No, he's going to become Dracula to win
Dracula
the 300.
Batman.
Right. I want to see the hero Dracula.
Batman.
Maybe people in Romania want to see the hero Dracula, though.
Dracula's
Those are the people that think of Vlad as a hero.
There's a poster where he has bat wings like Batman. It's Dracula Batman.
Yeah, it's...
I'm just saying, maybe some European people want to see Vlad as a hero, though.
Vlad.
But it's also, it's the same thing that goes into like...
Turks or whatever.
All right, so I'm going to cross sacred ground maybe to somebody here, but, you've got Gotham, the TV show, Batman before he was Batman. It's like, who fucking cares?
I can't believe we're not going to talk about. Let's talk about Halloween 6. Goddammit. Let's fucking talk.
It was on a tangent, but I mean, you know what I mean.
It's
these origin things are kind of.
It's just because you don't understand Gotham,
Oh, we have an apologist over here.
No, it's because
have you watched it? How is it? Like I
like
watched
it.
Is it?
I like it because fucking Harvey Bullock is interesting. I like the fucking characters of Gotham, just like a lot of fucking people out there. Just because the guy talking doesn't like Gotham.
Origin stories. I don't like origin.
It's not about an origin story. It's about exploring the other characters of a universe. The same way, Star Wars has the Mos Eisley bar. People that love Star Wars, they want to know about the characters in the Mos Eisley bar. That's the same fucking thing about Gotham. This is the last time I'm going to talk about Gotham. It's a universal thing. It's getting to know. If you like a universe, it's being able to explore the universe a little bit more in depth.
Well, that's kind of
what
I wish I can bring that back around
in Halloween.
Because that's kind of what the Halloween movies are trying to do by bringing in all this extended family and all this shit, is building this extended universe. Except, unfortunately, it's retarded.
Well
Yes,
played.
It is.
Retarded.
It is.
It was a good go. The idea of druid doctors that fucking lock them up and release them and do.
Right, like some, yeah.
It just doesn't make fucking sense.
No, it doesn't. I mean, it starts at about the time they say they got drugged. I feel like I've been drugged. It's like, it's his game, and I know where he wants to play it. From that part on, it's a completely different movie between the two cuts.
Well, they mentioned that in the theatrical version, right?
What? The drug?
The drug?
Yeah, oh yeah, that's,
yeah,
I mean, right after that is the
they
part where it
mentioned that,
splits.
so-
Because after that, we go to druids, or we go to straight to hospital.
And chase scene.
And chase
something
scene. Like, from that part
the
on,
Halloween
it is chase scene.
experience.
Yes.
Yeah.
From that part
And that's
on,
when they like
theatrical is a
secure
Halloween.
it. Where
Yeah,
it's just so stupid that the woman that knows like nothing about shit, all she is like somehow related to Michael Myers, and she's just like, "It's your baby, Michael." Don't. It's like, what the fuck?
Right, like she all of a sudden becomes an expert on the whole
Paul
thing.
Rudd.
Yeah.
Paul Rudd's an expert just by assuming.
Sure.
Paul Rudd is this Danny. What's Tommy Doyle? Tommy Doyle has assumed his way into every bit of knowledge for this fucking movie, right?
Yeah.
There's this fucking rune, right? I have no proof of doctors or anybody.
He even says, "I have a theory."
But somehow,
Maybe.
he insists on Halloween night when these runes, when the rune stars line up,
When
or
it
whatever,
appears,
even though it takes,
he appears.
But the other one...
trillions of
the other
fucking
one
years
didn't
for
mention
stars to
the-
move, but every Halloween when these stars line
Well,
up.
I mean, it's weird because the other ones didn't even talk about that at all.
No, nobody mentioned
Well, no,
it.
No,
they
because
just
it was
fucking made it up.
retcon. It's all retcon.
It is,
They're
it is
making
retconning
shit up for
that,
this new
right.
movie.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But it was,
time we had.
They tried.
I think we're at an hour.
All right, so we're probably coming in on wrap-up time. But before we do, we got mailbag, right? And then we'll go through individual wrap-ups on your experience with Halloween 6 and whether or
Are
not
we
you'll-
mailbagging before? We should have done mailbag. Did we not do mailbag?
Well, this is
Wrapping up
mailbag
Oops.
about this movie.
Okay. All right, go for it.
All right. So here we go, mailbag. Because I'm posting this on Facebook. You can also mailbag us
Mailbag.
at facebook.com/Saturday Night Freak Show. Nick Hammond, longtime listener, says, I don't mind this Halloween sequel. The kills were good.
I hope you heard that forehead slap.
I would say the worst Halloween had to be Michael in the Hood. I mean, Halloween Resurrection.
Damn.
Well,
I
yeah,
hadn't
Michael
seen...
in the hood, yeah.
I hadn't seen Curse in a while, but watched it last year while doing a Halloween marathon and realized Paul Rudd was in this, making his debut like Depp in a horror flick. It's a Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yes.
Yes. Whenever I see Rudd in a movie, I find myself keep saying slapping the bass, man. He also asks to the group, how would you rank the movie slashers? And he's got Ghostface, Pinhead,
He does rank
Jason,
all of them, does he?
Freddy, Michael, Leatherface, and Chucky.
He basically asked the classics. So.
Chucky's the best.
Jason's my guy.
Chucky can go after anybody. Because every time he gets a new body, he can tell his secret to anybody. He can go after anybody. Continue with stories.
Halloween gets my vote. That's my favorite out of all those. Yeah.
That's mine right there.
I'm kind of in the middle. I don't know. Does he mention the Scream ones?
Yeah.
Scream.
Ghostface.
Scream's my
Scream's
second.
in there in
Yeah.
Halloween.
So who's at the bottom? Bottom.
Bottom?
Jeepers Creepers. I don't know.
That's what
Hellraiser, because I don't know it as well
What
as the
the
other ones.
I don't know it as well. I don't know it
I
as
don't
well
know
either.
it as well as the other ones.
I don't know.
Out of our options, I
Yeah,
don't know it as
my
well as
options-
Two, I think I watched.
Out of those options, I
The
don't know
least
that as
interesting to me, this is Colin, my least interesting is actually probably Chucky. Of all of those.
well.
Yeah.
I'm not saying he
That
has
should be
bad
up a
movies. I
little.
like his movies.
Yes.
But I'm
He's
saying
just
of
an
all of
interesting
them,
character.
he's the least interesting. Want to
Oh
go?
my
Sean,
God,
you're
that's
who's your
crazy.
least?
Least? Oh, I said Hellraiser.
Hellraiser?
Yeah, because I don't know him as well as the other ones.
Ryan.
Halloween, Scream, everything.
Mine
before that.
would have to be also Hellraiser because I've only seen the first two and yeah.
Well, you're missing out. Cause
Hellraiser would be the same.
well,
I've never seen any
allow
of
me
them, and
to
they
show
just don't
it
look
to you.
interesting. I mean, a guy with pins on his head. I mean, what does he even do?
Oh, you got to check it out.
It's
the first
all-
one. The
I'd say
first
watch
one.
it.
And
It's
also
one
with the
of the first
box.
It's all
It's also
concept.
got a box.
Yeah.
When the
Yeah.
box turns, he comes.
Because he's
there.
barely
It's all
in the
about
movie.
existing
It's
in
all
a
about,
dimension of pleasure and pain. It's all.
yeah, it's about someone who wants the ultimate pleasure in life,
They
but
got-
they go too far and summon these demons.
Yes.
And I think
Cenobites.
Pinhead's in like
Cenobites
3
are-
scenes
yeah.
in the first one. 3
Yeah.
scenes. I mean, he's not really.
How many
He's just the
Hellraisers
guy.
are there?
Well, see, this is
8.
the other
Too
one.
many of them.
8 or 9.
Yeah,
Yeah, but
It's a lot.
Dimension
Wow.
Films got a hold
They
of it.
made one
and
without
fucking-
Doug Bradley, didn't they?
Yes,
Yeah, yeah.
the new guy.
It was
not even-
bad.
yeah, it was-
I
he's not even
saw
around
I saw
anymore.
clips
Doug
from it.
Bradley's
It didn't
not
look
even
good.
It
Yeah.
was bad.
Didn't the one girl?
Oh, you
from
saw
the-
it?
Oh, yeah.
Didn't the
I
one girl
love
from the
horror
first two
movies.
come back in one of them? Ashley Lawrence.
Yeah, she, in
She was-
Hellseeker, Hellraiser Hellseeker.
Yeah. She came back in one of them. I did see that one.
Well, I did
As
read a.
Kirsty or whatever.
I read a
Kirsty
news
Cotton.
announcement from Clive Barker. He said he's writing a reboot for Dimension Films. So
Hell yeah.
Of course.
It's
Buyer
Clive Barker,
beware.
though. He can do it. He did the
I
first
was,
movie.
yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, he can do it.
all right.
That'd be fun.
So wrap ups is your experience with this movie. Any anecdotes? The floor is yours, and whether you recommend it or not. And since you sit
start-
to the
That's my
left
pick.
of,
Your turn. Yeah,
he
you're
goes
first.
last.
Is this one? I like the theatrical version better than this one.
Right, if you want to stick to the gore and all that stuff, I would have to agree and go with the.
Yes,
The regular one
'cause
first?
The producer's cut is like the theatrical version.
Yeah, it's just not the
Honestly,
same.
Yeah, it's
I think that was 2 wrap-ups in one.
yeah.
And then Travis left.
yeah.
So that's not a okay. So that's not a recommendation. Yeah, I mean,
No, yeah,
What do
I
you think?
would-
What do you recommend? Like, which one do you recommend?
The theatrical version.
The theatrical version of
Yes.
this? Yeah, you
Yeah.
would recommend that to people?
Yes, I would.
so the Weinsteins, for all the shit that they get, actually made the right call. Then we're saying by cutting
Yeah.
this
I
movie.
would stick with the theatrical one. Yes.
Yes.
All right. Well, Travis bugged out, so I'm
did.
gonna
Go
do
for
it, and then he'll go after me probably.
Go for it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think I said like my piece with the Halloween series. You know, it's like would I recommend this movie? It's like, you know, if you're a completionist, I mean, these movies, because they are part of a franchise, you know, they kind of exist in their own little world where they're almost like critic proof, right?
They do.
It's like if you're a fan
if you
of
stick in that world, yes.
yeah, you're going to see them all,
Yes.
no matter what we say or anybody says.
It really is. Like, reviews of these movies don't matter.
Yeah, they don't.
They
And I
don't.
think that's why the box office of the... Because I remember, like, you know, I mean, I was a film aficionado back in the 80s, you know, growing up, and would read reviews and was always like, why are these critics always dogging on these movies that I love? I love these Halloween movies. And the critics are all like, this one is a fucking boring piece of shit that I saw last year when it was called Part 3.
Yeah.
And, you know, there's nothing new here, and it sucks, and, like, all we're doing is introducing these people to kill them off, and I think that, you know, that's also part of the contract that the movie has with the audience. It's like, we know that we're going in to see faceless, personality-free cannon fodder, basically, right? So the agreement is that we're going to kill them off in some kind of spectacular fashion that you're going to remember for a while.
It did become
you know,
about
the guy
kills,
getting
yes.
fucking punched in the head by
The
Jason
head
in
exploding,
part
yes.
in Friday the 13th.
Part
Part
8, and Jason X-ray head, he
hit
gets his
that-
head
the
punched off,
boxer.
yes.
Like,
Butts off,
you
yeah.
remember that
You
one.
do.
right?
The camera on when it spins off. Too.
Yeah. I mean, that's a good one,
You
right?
do,
Where
yes.
that one fulfills the contract, and so many others don't. This movie doesn't come anywhere near it. I mean, it's a disaster from the writing, the conception. I mean, trying to make, you know, the sixth movie of this franchise and spinning this thing out. I think they, like, you know, I mean, when you watch the first one to this one, you're like, where in the fuck? I don't know. It's
Yeah.
you know, watching it now, you're sitting there going like, this really is, it's boring. The writing's terrible. I've seen so much better stuff in my life now that, you know, it's like, it's really bad. It had a nice title font, I thought. And I was like, is the director any good? I mean, like, looking at some of these scenes and like how he set them up, and I'm like, that's not bad. That's not bad. Okay, he's got a yellow light there, an orange light because it's Halloween, and, you know, whatever. There's smoke in the background.
It's fire.
You know, there's atmosphere. So it's like, he's a capable director as far as, like, I can shoot a movie. But I don't think he understands horror movies at all. Doesn't know why things are scary
I can't
or
shoot
how you
shoot a
actually...
Halloween movie.
Yeah, doesn't know anything. Just knows, like, this is what it says in the script. This is how these movies are made. I can go make this cookie cutter thing. And, so, I mean, again, I think you're going to see it if you're a Halloween aficionado. You listen to this podcast because you know what the hell we're talking about when we
Right.
say Halloween 6, the producer's cut. But, I mean, to anybody else, I'd say, like, stay the fuck away from it. It's not a good movie.
I mean, Halloween, it's like I remember when I was a kid. When you're a kid, you love all these fucking movies. And the more you watch them, the more you watch them, the more you... That's what's like, I could kind of see where you're at with, like, 4 and 5. It's like, give it another 15 years, you know? You're going to be like, I'm never fucking watching this again, you know?
Maybe, you know what? Maybe. I'll
Fuck
give you that.
this movie.
Maybe.
But it's like I've always loved I always thought Myers was my, you know, I first saw Jason movies, then I saw Michael Myers, and I could see how like Halloween 1, like we were talking about, how it's so artsy, so it's like, oh, Myers is the man, he's the man. But then all these other horror people start having like pretty good sequels. If they're not great, everybody's getting somewhat good sequels. It's like Halloween doesn't get shit. Halloween has no good sequels. Halloween 1 and 2 is like what you got, and then everything else is like you're just looking for like, is he in the mask? What's the mask gonna look like this movie? Fuck, that's what it looks like.
And
Jesus,
that is a big
Don
thing that we
Post?
haven't discussed is the mask,
Well,
and that is a big thing with this franchise.
It's because it was William Shatner
for the first two.
76.
For the first two.
Not even the second one. They had to change it for the second one.
No,
even.
it's actually the same mask, but it's
really?
Yes, but
It looks
it's warped and fucked up.
I heard they had to do another cast that was
it's-
similar because it's always about that. It was always about the copyright, getting it too close to looking like Shatner.
I don't know.
again.
I've heard people say like it's the same mask.
That's why
it
they
just
try to
looks
put
fucking. After 3 years, it looks a little fucked up from
It's
what it was
dirtier,
before.
for sure.
It is. It is dirtier. It's a little more. Yeah, but it is. That's a big thing in this franchise.
You know, so it's like Halloween movies have just never had anything to offer the audience. With sequel after sequel after sequel, just fucking has nothing, and it makes me angry. And this one especially, just like, Jesus, what is going on? I mean, I can't say anything that we haven't just talked about, except for this is like the first time I remember the Tommy winning with the runes. It's like, what the fuck is he talking about? His little walnut runes or whatever those were supposed to be? They were little walnuts or something.
Little walnut runes.
And it's like, so druids is like this ancient culture that's pretty much forgotten by everyone in history because the Christians did so well, or the Catholics did so well driving them out of existence. No one really knows shit about them. But this guy
knows it.
He knows exactly how to cast these rune spells. Even without, like, dealing with, like I said, the fact that he knows so much, and he's like, why doesn't he just go kill these druid doctor guys? Why doesn't he, like, start just, like, exposing this conspiracy? It's like they tried to make him a conspiracy guy, but I would have bought it more if he was a conspiracy guy for the druid doctors, if it was all about the rich elite people that are the fucking satanic people that, like, I could have bought this a little bit more, you know, and my interest would have been a little bit more. Because that's why this should get me. I'm a conspiracy dude. It's like, oh, dude, druid doctors are
It really should.
It should.
It really
totally,
should.
but, oh, they ruined it. They ruined their chance. They didn't even connect the dots really well. You know, they don't even know. Like, I forgot. We should have Captain Googled what the Rune of Thorn actually is. Because that is a real rune.
That's a
thing.
It's
Yeah.
not
thing.
made up.
It's
No,
not
it's a
made.
thing.
Well, that's a real symbol. It's
Right.
Not, it's
What
not
it actually
Thorn,
is,
it's not,
yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
but that is a real rune.
Let's not waste time.
Yeah. Look it up on your own. It has nothing to
Go
do
find
with
out.
Michael Myers.
Yes.
Or killing people or whatever they think druids did. Druids, they get the druids, since druids and voodoo people aren't around to protect their fucking names in Hollywood, so they're always like, oh man, we don't do nothing with no dolls, man. We ain't making no dolls come to life. But oh my god, yeah. I mean, earlier I talked about how much fun I had watching this in theaters, just because it was my first like Myers on the big screen,
Right.
And it's just been worse, like, ever since.
Every viewing since.
Ever like, Myers on the big screen. You know, I'm like, fuck, just stop it. And I always wondered if, like this, the same way in Part 4, how they planned for, like, oh, you know, maybe Jamie will just, like, get the Myers curse and stab the mom and have the, you know. Were they going to try to do that with Danny in this one, I was wondering? Were they going to try to, like, we're going to kill Myers? Let's have Danny be the killer? Because Hollywood they're fucking idiots. They actually think, even though we love Michael Myers, that if we introduce a new character, then somehow give him the power and call it Halloween, that we're just going to fall in fucking line. I mean, they've tried this so many times. The new Thor woman, I'm sorry, I'm just going to say.
Indiana Jones'
You're
kid.
just going to fall in line, dude. Yeah, they're talking about the new Ghostbusters being all female. Like, we're just going to fall in line.
Really?
Yeah, I heard that.
I mean,
All they got to do is put the name we like on it
Female
and
ones,
introduce
though.
new characters for us to like. And it's like,
they make it good. I'm all for it, but
it's
they gotta make it good.
So if they made another Halloween movie, would you go see it?
Ooh,
That's a good
None
question.
of it has anything none of it has anything to do with Rob Zombie.
Going on? It's been 5 years.
Yeah, the second
but
one he made
where's-
was horrible. He
No,
should
but
have never
where
even
do they
made
go
that
from
one.
here?
But they
Like,
talked
what
about
is
well, originally. Wait, I have the answer to this.
Go after
They after
Besides
the
3D.
success of My
not
Bloody Valentine,
Besides
they
3D.
went to Todd Farmer, who wrote
They were
that,
supposed to
and
go-
Patrick
They've been trying to
Lussier,
make that movie
and they
for
said,
years.
write us a script. And so they came up with a
3D,
script and
like
gave it to
5
Maliki
years
Todd.
ago.
And they were apparently like budgeting the thing,
They were
and
this
sets
close.
were that close to being
This
built.
close.
It was Halloween 3D,
3D,
and then it
this
fell
close,
apart.
yeah.
And it was going to
Yeah.
continue after the Rob Zombie thing, only from a new creative
Was it going to be
team.
another Jamie's Baby? I bet it was.
I don't know, but it was going
I
to
don't
be with Scout Taylor Compton. She was like, going to be Laurie Strode in it, and then it fell apart.
The
and
third Laurie Strode.
I
movie.
heard
So a
again-
killer that can't even kill his one fucking intended victim.
Yeah,
So right now there's nothing.
I don't
Yeah,
think
it's
so.
not. That's
They
going to
should
be hard.
continue
Is it
after
It's going to be hard
Halloween
to continue.
8.
the
They
first
should
two
keep-
Rob
No.
Zombie ones. Yeah,
No, I
forget
think
about
they,
those.
I think they should continue after Halloween 8 when they unzip
They need to
the
bury
bag
it. We're
and
not
open
making
his
Creature in
eyes.
the Black
Yeah.
Lagoon
They should-
anymore,
they
so we
should-
need to bury these fuckers too.
Yeah.
I don't. It's
Still
going to be
should go
hard
after
for them to
Halloween 8.
continue on from that
We need
point.
20 years to go by, then we need
Well,
fucking
actually,
Michael
been
Myers
what?
Untold, where he's the
In
hero.
space.
And he
Yeah,
goes
right.
to the druid doctors to save his family. And like
Well, it's been 16 years since H2O, so maybe
They'll
H4O.
probably-
H4O.
They'll just go and remake this again.
Yeah,
at
we,
some
right?
point,
It's
we
yeah.
need Jamie Lee Curtis to be
Jamie
the one
Curtis
that's like,
back.
It's pretty good. But she's dead. She's dead.
But,
Jamie Lee?
but
She's dead.
No, because
you
that's
know
all
how
not just
she
a
can
dream.
come back
Whatever.
though. Michael came back and surprised her. Why can't
And
she do
Dr.
the
Loomis
same
has
thing?
come back like
It-
4 fucking
right,
times.
it is-
He's
Right.
blown
Why
up.
can't,
I will
why
say-
can't,
He had a
why
heart
can't
attack.
Laurie come back and surprise
I will
Michael?
say Laurie's death didn't seem definitive to me. As far as
Right,
I'm
it
concerned.
didn't.
But
Oh, kiss
that's a
him on
shitty
there and then
sequel
fall
that I don't want
down,
to go back
I
on.
mean,
Yeah, kissing.
come on,
Oh,
kissing
what a
her,
fucking.
whatever.
I don't even want to get it
I'll
started.
see you in
Alright, so that's my wrap up. Piece of shit. Never see any Halloween movie. No, see 1 and 2.
They should have her come back and end it for good.
So who's.
They did. They did
Wrap-ups?
have her come back and end it
Sean
for
is
good.
up next.
But then they fucked it up and went one more movie.
Yeah, they did.
Halloween 6, the producer's cut. I prefer the theatrical cut that came out.
Do you wish it was called Halloween 666?
I do
Wasn't
not.
it called Origin
Because-
of Michael Myers?
Yeah.
Yes, it was
Halloween
originally called The
666,
Origin of
that's
Michael
what it
Myers.
was.
Yeah.
Was it Halloween 666 Origin of Michael Myers?
I think it was.
That was the original
That was
title?
the original title for it.
I want to say that
That's something. That's a trailer they include on the box set. The
Really?
Halloween 666.
but the
the origin
bootleg of
Michael Myers.
this,
Yeah,
I want to say the bootleg of this just was
Is that going to be on
Halloween
here?
Yeah.
6.
That's Sean blowing his nose on
That's
it.
not like our special effect for the
Right. This is
night.
actually not.
Sean's dying too. This is the weekend of the Ebola
right.
scare.
It's my last one because I'm dead after this.
It's Ebola.
Yeah.
No, it's actually never been called Halloween 6.
Now,
No,
was it
no,
on
it
the
was,
producer?
too.
Like the bootleg wasn't it just Halloween 6 with no
No,
subtitle?
it was always.
It was.
Halloween Curse
I
of
think
Michael
it was
Myers.
Halloween 6 Curse of Michael Myers. I think you're right on the producer's
okay.
cut. It was. But originally, before that, it was just Halloween the Curse of
yeah,
Michael
in the
Myers.
theaters. That
Yes,
was,
yeah.
Yeah.
because it didn't have the little thorn as the A.
Right,
No,
it
it
did.
was
Yeah,
the-
it was,
yeah,
yeah.
bootleg.
That was only on the
Yeah,
bootleg.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just-
that's
I would recommend. I mean, like Colin said, if
No.
you're no,
you would
No, I would recommend the theatrical.
Stop this podcast right now.
No. Like Colin said, what did you say? No, I would recommend the.
You recommend it to fans because you're
right
see
to fans.
It anyway.
Like fans are going to see this anyway. Like this, especially from the box set that just got released. Like this is for the fans, especially like if you're like me. Like I've never seen the producer's cut. Like I've known its existence for many years now. I've just never like gone out and tracked down the shitty copy of whatever it was. But seeing it, like, I prefer what they did with the theatrical cut. I'm not saying the theatrical cut has problems. Like, both versions of this movie have problems. And they're not
Fixable.
fixable or really good. They're not good. They're not good. Neither one's really like, oh, that one's good, and the other one's not. They're not really good. Like, there was so much problems with this movie in either cut. It's not. Yeah, I would never consider them either one a good movie. I would prefer the theatrical cut. It's like I said, it's a horror movie, whereas the producer's cut it doesn't really feel like one. Maybe it's more coherent as a full story if you're going to go with the Thorn storyline, but I don't like the Thorn storyline. That's adding way too much sort of mythology to Myers that doesn't interest me.
You'd have to go so far out of your way just to... Laurie Strode's the only victim for years, and these doctors are just keeping him up for one fucking person. It makes no fucking sense.
I mean, the whole...
after 6, they don't even mention it again.
They really don't. And
that's it.
I mean, the whole conceit of Halloween 6 is that they're just like, well, they introduced it in Halloween 5. What do we do?
Yep.
And that's it. That's where that storyline comes from. Yeah. That's all it has to do with the rest of Halloween 6.
Why, because obviously they almost would have assumed that the original scriptwriter that came up that would have continued to write Halloween 6. I wonder what the fuck that guy...
Who has watched the box set? Who can answer this question?
I've listened to the commentary on
the guy who fucking wrote 5. What's his fucking excuse?
Have you listened to the commentary?
They didn't know.
Have you listened to the commentary?
No.
He says that he doesn't even know.
He
says that they just knew they had the fucking like.
No, it really was.
They're
they
just
don't know.
They need it just the same way Part 4 had the Jamie as Myers in the clown suit. They needed another thing.
You gotta have a franchise.
Right.
So they needed a mysterious black guy, mysterious whatever stranger.
And they would have
the man in black.
In the new stuff they talked to everybody who made Halloween 4, and they look back at it going, I wish I had made Halloween 5, because they would have continued that story with Jamie and everything, but they didn't end up doing it. But yeah, the guys for Halloween 5, no idea. They just introduced it.
Well, they had like a year.
Didn't know where it was going to go.
Like because they were trying to turn it into a yearly franchise.
They were, because they were coming off 4. A year later, they made 5. They're like, well, a year later, we'll make another something.
That's not like a lot of time to turn a movie around.
It isn't, but they had no idea.
6 years for the next one.
Yeah,
and we're almost going on 6 years since the last one.
I think it's going to be a while before we see another Halloween movie.
Yeah.
As long as Malek Akkad is alive, we will see another Halloween.
I'm going to call it. Yes, I'm going to call it right now, though. Next Halloween movie, direct-to-video.
No.
I'm going to call it.
I don't think any of them will ever go direct-to-video.
As long as Dimension holds on the rights, that wouldn't surprise me. Because that is what they do now. They do like that VOD, and then we put it out in theaters or whatever. And
I'm going to call it direct-to-video as the next Halloween movie.
Dude, Texas Chainsaw came out to theaters. A Halloween movie will come out to theater.
I mean, I hope, because I'll go see it. I'm in it for the long haul.
That's why we're suckers. That's why they don't wait. We're suckers. 10 years to give a shit.
No,
and we're like, we'll pay.
We are suckers. We are in. We are the reason this shit's bad, because we keep going to see it.
Yeah.
But if they release another Halloween movie into theaters, I will go see it. Because it will have, and I'm that guy. I'm the problem with it. There is Michael Myers on the big screen.
At least it's not the last one, you know.
Right, exactly. Right. I will go see it. So, if you're going to watch these movies and, obviously, all the fans see the theatrical cut. See them both, but the theatrical cut is what I prefer. If you're just a horror fan, I mean, if you don't know anything about the series, fuck off with these movies.
Don't even watch
it. There's other ones you can just go with, and but there
they could do like a Laurie Strode Parent Trap thing. He thinks he killed her, but it's just there's 2 of them,
Oh, God.
Laurie follows Michael around,
He didn't know that I had an identical twin.
Oh, my God. Oh, God. I'm surprised it hasn't been brought up.
I know, right?
But there it is.
You should send that in. I'm sure Malek Akkad is
right. They're looking for ideas. Right. You could be the next. You could be. We could all be working on the next Halloween right now.
Right.
Just saying.
Trademark Saturday Night Freak Show.
There it is.
Yeah, the parrot. Michael Myers, the Parrot Trap.
Well, speaking of the Saturday Night Freak Show, I guess this is the bittersweet farewell. So,
it is.
Sean, thank you for all your year and a half.
Thank you, guys. Yeah, thank you for the last year and a half. This has been pretty awesome, and
I'm sure you'll be back.
I'm sure I will be back too every once in a while. But thank you for a year and a half ago letting me be part of this. I appreciate it. This has been fun every Saturday night, and I thank you guys a lot. This has been great.
Yelling at your
yes, I've enjoyed arguing with every one of you. So thank you very much. This has been awesome.
And thank you for letting us do it. I hope.
Thank you for by the way, these are my brothers, the other two. Yes. Thank you for being on my last show. I appreciate it.
It was really fun. Yep.
Yeah, it was fun.
Jay, awesome. I'm glad you could show up. That was a joke. You didn't say a word.
All right, well, that's it. So catch us next time. Go back through our archive. You can find all of Sean's past episodes and all of the rest of them on iTunes, Castroller, Player FM, Stitcher Radio,
20 other stations you never heard of.
On our website, SaturdayNightFreakshow.blogspot.com. And don't forget to visit our Facebook at facebook.com/SaturdayNightFreakshow. We're on Twitter. We got email. You'll find it. We're out there. And that's it.
What's email?
That's it.
Who uses email anymore?
What are we watching next week?
Shit!
We'll see you around.
Wait,
That's not
Travis's movie is next week. We gotta edit
Oh,
this
wait,
in.
whoa. What are we watching?
We're going to be watching...
What are you watching?
The forgotten classic, Girlfriend from Hell from 1989.
Maybe
Not available on DVD.
Oh, good.
Oh,
You're
God, is this
bringing in-
VHS?
Only on VHS.
Oh, my God.
It's one of the ones that slipped through the cracks.
So it's forgotten for a reason?
Maybe. It depends on who watches it.
Right.
It's one of those, like, it's like, I like it.
There you go. That's all
There
it
it
is. Next week, we'll put it under the gauntlet of the Saturday Night
Yeah.
Freak Show.
It's going to get
What are you
rough.
talking about? Some of them turn out like they're brilliant.
Yeah.
And
And there
that's
is.
it.
And
Later.